This video is brought to you by NordVPN. Another week, another Conservative infighting scandal. This week appears to be round 2 of what could be a long and bruising fight between Sunak and the Tory centrists and the right-wingers over the plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. The fear for Sunak is that this could further destabilise his already rocky premiership, and if things go badly enough, could even prove a trigger point for disaffected right-wingers to try and topple him. So in this video, we're going to look at what Sunak's Rwanda plan is, what Parliament is voting on this week, what is expected to happen, and ultimately, whether this could bring down Rishi Sunak. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop and be notified when we release new videos. Now, it's worth starting this video by explaining exactly what the Rwanda plan is. In essence, this was a plan that was concocted by former Home Secretary Priti Patel in mid-2022 and is centred around sending asylum seekers who cross the channel to Rwanda to have their claims processed there. If approved, the asylum seeker would remain in Rwanda. If not, they would be sent back to their country of origin. The very first flight that was meant to take off as part of this scheme was blocked at the last moment by the European Court of Human Rights. The case then went to the High Court, who ruled that the Rwanda plan was lawful. This was challenged and sent to the Court of Appeal, who overturned the ruling, stating that the plan was unlawful as Rwanda isn't a safe country. The government appealed this, bringing the issue to the Supreme Court, who agreed with the Court of Appeal that Rwanda isn't a safe country and added that asylum seekers sent there face real risk of ill treatment in circumstances where they should not have been returned at all. The Supreme Court found 5 ways in which Rwanda's judicial system isn't robust enough to accurately assess asylum claims and could lead to legitimate asylum seekers being returned to a country where they would face torture, cruel or inhumane or degrading treatment. In international law, this is referred to as refoulement, which is outlawed by the UN Refugee Convention. In response to this, Rishi Sunak pressed ahead with a new law that specifically states that every decision maker must conclusively treat the Republic of Rwanda as a safe country, and tells lawmakers to ignore claims that Rwanda is sending asylum seekers to third countries. Now, it should be noted that Sunak did this in combination with a new treaty in which Rwanda isn't allowed to send asylum seekers anywhere other than back to the UK, and that aimed to improve the judicial situation and alleviate some of the concerns that the UK Supreme Court had in the first place. Now, Sunak's plan managed to court controversy from the centre of his party and from the right of his party, with those in the centre concerned about the UK's commitment to international law, and those on the right concerned that the bill doesn't go far enough. In December, when this went through the House of Commons for the second reading, Sunak managed to mitigate the risk of it being voted down. Effectively, the rebels agreed that the most sensible course of action was to support the bill for now and schedule amendments later at the next stage. As such, the bill passed through the Commons by 313 votes to 269, a majority of 44, with only 29 abstentions and not a single Tory vote against. However, while Sunak survived that round, all this did was give him a few weeks of stability. The real test was the next stage of the bill, which came this week. There's been a huge array of amendments suggested by a range of MPs, but it's worth noting that a huge number of these have been tabled by those to the right of the party that want to see the legislation beefed up. Miriam Cates alone has tabled no less than 16 amendments. In essence, though, there are 2 main things that the rebels are keen to change. First, they want to stop the European Court of Human Rights from being able to intervene as they did when they previously blocked a flight to Rwanda. As such, amendments have been scheduled to allow courts to block these injunctions. The second is a plan to limit the number of reasons that people could use to avoid being sent to Rwanda, thereby increasing the number of people eligible to be sent to Rwanda. Now, some rebels are keen to stress that these amendments aren't designed to tank the bill, simply improve it. This is what Deputy Chair of the Tory party, Lee Anderson, argued when he said that he agreed with 90% of the bill. He stressed that it was not a rebellion, just that there's a few areas of the bill that could be tightened up. Not all of his colleagues agree, though. Miriam Cates has made clear that she would vote against the bill if the government does not agree to her amendments, and there's a fear that a number of other Tory MPs may well join her, with some reports suggesting that as many as 56 MPs will back the amendments. As part of this 56, it seems that there are some pretty senior figures too. This includes Liz Truss, Robert Jenrick, Suella Braverman, Ian Duncan-Smith, Jake Berry, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Simon Clarke. In fact, even Boris Johnson has weighed in on this, with him tweeting that this bill must be as legally robust as possible, and the right course is to adopt the amendments. Technically speaking, though, it's unlikely that any amendment will actually be agreed to, even with this much support, as the government and the opposition are likely to vote them down. The risk comes on Wednesday night, when Parliament votes on the third reading of the bill. At this stage, the opposition will vote against the bill, meaning that only 29 Tory MPs need to vote against it in order for it to fail. Considering that there are 56 Tory MPs openly backing amendments, it's quite possible that this 29-vote threshold is met and the government is defeated. And if the government is defeated, the rebels could see this defeat as an opportunity to try and oust him via a no-confidence vote and bring in a Prime Minister that has more naturally right-leaning instincts. The fact that all of this coincides with a major Telegraph YouGov poll showing that Sunak is on course for a huge defeat at the next election will only add to the feeling amongst the rebels that this is the week to strike. And with a significant fraction of the party annoyed that Sunak hasn't gone further right on issues such as small boats, Sunak would be right to worry about such a vote. At the time of recording, though, the vote has not taken place, and we don't know whether Sunak has won it. Whatever happens, though, this is a hugely significant moment for the Prime Minister, and winning or losing could be the difference between remaining in his job or being forced out by his own side. Whatever the future may hold, it will always be important to keep yourself safe online. Fortunately, when it comes to your digital safety, NordVPN has your back. It's an unfortunate reality that online scams and phishing attacks are on the rise, with us constantly bombarded by annoying notifications and emails that we forgot we even signed up to. It's easy to click the wrong link. One seemingly innocent link can compromise security and bring things crashing down. With the protection of NordVPN, though, you can use their threat protection feature to identify potentially suspicious links. Even if you reached a suspicious website, NordVPN's data encryption tools would protect you and your data against a number of other attacks, such as malicious man-in-the-middle breaches. But if things do go wrong, NordVPN's dark web monitoring is always scanning for your compromised details across the entire internet, and can even notify you before you even notice anything's gone wrong. So if you want to securely connect to that free Wi-Fi at your local coffee shop without worrying about someone trying to take a peek at your personal data, you can sign up for a 2-year plan with a massive discount and 4 months free at nordvpn.com/TLDR. We've been told that sometimes our viewers just open a new tab and type in the URL themselves, and while we're certainly glad that you're using the service, you only get the discount and support the channel through that link. So if you wish to get the discount and support independent journalism further, make sure you sign up using our link. That's nordvpn.com/TLDR. Thanks for your support.